Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch. This is a special Summer of Gaming 2022 edition. I'm Daemon Hatfield, and as always, I'm joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of IGN's Xbox podcast, Podcast Unlocked.
Good to literally actually see you, Daemon.
Good to breathe the same air. And sitting in for Jonathan this week is Mark Medina, also from Podcast Beyond.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Dornbush couldn't be here, and so you guys are stuck with me instead.
We're like, who can we get? Mark. Mark's standing next to us. Get in here.
He's a warm body.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just coming out of Summer Game Fest, really kicking off IGN's Summer of Gaming coverage. It's going to last all through June. And there were a lot of game announcements during the show. Not a lot of next-gen games, though, right? So I think the only ones that were involved in almost a 2-hour presentation were Gotham Knights, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake, Warhammer 40k Darktide, and Layers of Fears.
Yep.
Which, that's going to be...
Multiple fears.
Soundtrack by Tears for Fears.
I'm not looking forward to saying that game title for the next year. But anyway, 4 next-gen games. And since this is like what we got this year instead of E3. This is E3 week. This is when sort of big announcements are made. And it kind of leaves us wondering, where's all the next-gen games? We're a year and a half into the console life cycle. It's in the third calendar year for these consoles. And I guess we should point out, Ryan, this conversation comes with an asterisk that we're just days away from the Xbox presentation where presumably everything will be next gen, right?
Yeah, actually I want to start with a second asterisk.
Okay, good.
It's not Jeff Keighley's fault that these games are not.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's not a judgment on Jeff, but yeah, that was one of the biggest surprises that we were just sitting around talking about after. It's like, wait a minute, we literally went through and took an inventory of everything. Only 4 games that are next gen only. As we sit here in June of 2022 for a forward-looking showcase like Summer Game Fest, which is a little disappointing. I mean, it's understandable the real-world context of the Xbox Series X only just finally now you can start to find it in stores if you're committed to getting one. It's not just everywhere. And the PlayStation 5 continues to be a challenge, but you're right. The other thing you teed up there, I expect the polar opposite of this at the Xbox showcase on this Sunday, and that is I expect literally everything, at least every first-party thing, to be a next-gen game, because Halo Infinite, to the best of my knowledge, was the last cross-gen, old-gen game for Xbox. Everything from here on out is going to be Xbox Series X and S or bust, or PC, I guess.
Well, I am very much looking forward to the Xbox Bethesda presentation on Sunday. But for right now, we've got sort of a where's the beef situation when it comes to next-gen games. And of course, we understand the reality of the world. The pandemic has impacted everything from the supply chain to forcing developers to work from home. I think at the beginning of the pandemic, all of those games that were sort of close to the finish line, they were not as impacted, and they came out. But now we're seeing the results of all the games that were deep into development when the pandemic started, and they got delayed into this year, into next year. So we're kind of finding ourselves in a little bit of a drought. And when we have a show like this, like Summer Game Fest, it's very forward-looking. The announcements they're just for like current gen, cross-gen games, right? Yeah. I don't know, Mark, are you still surprised?
If you would have told me in 2020 when the consoles came out that you still wouldn't be able to find one in 2022, like I just wouldn't believe it. It's really, really weird. I've seen one Series X in a store, never seen a PS5 still. Yeah. Like they're basically impossible to find. And if I had to guess, I'm not a game developer. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm not a game developer. But if I had to guess, game developers do want to go next gen. We saw with Gotham Knights, they canceled the old version because they want to make the best experience possible. And say what you will about that game, but I think it's going to help them to be able to only have to make that console or that game for Series X and PS5. I'm sure that's what a lot of developers want to do, but it's just not in the cards right now because so many people now don't get to play Gotham Knights because of that decision.
Yeah, it's tough to turn your back if you're a publisher who's funding a game that costs tens and tens of millions of dollars to say we're gonna not cater to the 100 million plus people that have a PS4 and the whatever 50, 60 something million that have an Xbox One. That's a difficult decision to make if you're a publishing executive, but at the same point, like gamers want to move forward and get awesome next-gen experiences, and next year? Question mark?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. There's been a lot of talk about how this generation, it doesn't feel like it's really kicked into high gear yet. And now, it's not going to be this year. I guess, so like, right. Is it 2023 that you sort of finally feel like, okay, now...
Every single year we move the goalposts. Like, next year's going to be awesome.
Well, yeah. We've had some really fascinating glimpses of it. I mean, Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart is, I think, to this point in time, it's the best looking video game I've ever seen. That's no doubt going to get topped over and over again this generation. But that was just such a great just tease of what should become normal at some point. And hopefully it is going to be next year. And I think for real, it's going to be next year.
Mark, what do you think? 2023.
I mean, it has to be, right? Like Starfield, presumably Breath of the Wild 2, like
God of War, Ragnarok.
God of War, exactly. Like there are games that like, but the thing is, God of War also coming to old gen, right? So it's like, I don't know. I think next year is going to be the year for a lot of games. I don't know if it's going to be a lot of games that are going to be exclusive to Series X and PS5. It's still too early to say. Every single time I think, oh, the drought for being able to find the consoles is over, the world surprises me, and you just still can't find them. So I think there's going to be good games. I think they're still going to come out for everything for a while.
Maybe it won't ever happen. Maybe this entire generation will be a cross-gen.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure hope not. Yeah, that would be a disappointment. But I mean, hey, at least we get faster loading times with our PS5s and Series X.
Series X? My Series X is so snappy.
Yeah.
Well, when we're recording this, we're still a few days away from Microsoft. Very much looking forward to see what we have in store for us there, and I'm sure there will be some next-gen games to look forward to. Today we saw a lot of games that are making their way to PlayStation 5 over the next year, so make sure you've got plenty of storage to hold them all. Check this out.
IGN is proud to be partnered with Samsung to ensure you're always operating at peak performance. Unleash the power of the Samsung 980 Pro PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD with heatsink and enjoy read speeds of up to 7,000 megabytes per second and thermal control for smart heat management, meaning no need to worry about overheating. But most importantly, no annoying performance drops or hardware lag, meaning more play and less weight. It's a perfect fit for PS5 and easy to install. Just make sure you install the 980 Pro with heatsink into the console. And just like that, you're off to the races. Or the Forbidden West, whichever you prefer. Whether you're gaming on PlayStation 5 or PC, rest assured you're using the best. Samsung is a proud product partner of IGN's Summer of Gaming.
Okay, we got some new release dates today, so it's time to take a look at the release calendar, sort of get a better look at what the back half of 2022 is going to look like for game releases. And we got something coming in hot that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I know a lot of people are. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, finally coming next week, June 16th. And Ryan, did you see? Launching into Game Pass.
So good. I mean, and perfect timing. That is the perfect summer Game Pass. Like, how can you, that's the kind of thing that keeps your Game Pass subscription renewing every month, because it's just, and they announced a 6-player mode, which is just going to make it extra fun. That's like making me think about the X-Men arcade game with the dual screens in the cabinet. Although, on that note, Damon, this developer now, hopefully, can they just do the same thing for X-Men?
Just
make a spiritual sequel to the X-Men arcade game now that they're done with Shredder's Revenge. But yeah, this Game Pass 6-player looks awesome.
Yeah, super excited for that one. Later on, August, of course, is going to be Saints Row. And then we found out today, The Last of Us Part 1 remake. It's real. It's coming in September 2nd.
I don't know. I don't know what to think of it, because it's like, it looks cool. It looks like Last of Us 2, but like, that game's not that old. So it's very strange that they're like, okay, here's a new for the people who have not played The Last of Us.
Well, they're going to get to play.
Definitely going to be the version you're going to want to play.
Yeah. If they can get a PS5.
If they can get a PS5. Yeah, I find it kind of funny because it's like the game mostly looks like Last of Us Part 2. So technically it could work on the PS4. The PS4 already has a remaster. Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's like there's no reason that as far as I know, that this would need to be PS5 only, except for the fact that the PS4 already has The Last of Us. So I don't know. It's cool. Probably won't play it, but the people who haven't played it will be very excited.
Well, everybody that watches the HBO show when it comes on, I mean, they're going to get that Witcher effect probably, where a bunch of people are going to go buy this Part 1 remake for PS5 after they get hooked on it from, if the HBO show is good, which, I mean, with that cast, how could it not be?
Yeah. hopefully. Okay, and then we finally got a release date for Midnight Suns, Marvel's Midnight Suns. It's coming October 7th. This is after it got delayed. It was supposed to already be out this year. It got delayed into the back half. We got a new trailer for it today. They announced some new characters, but still no gameplay. So I'm like very intrigued by this game. I like XCOM games. I like a lot of these superheroes. But without seeing gameplay, it's a little bit hard for me to get excited for it. I don't know how about you.
We've got a preview with some gameplay
Okay,
on IGN.com. Check it out. No, we actually had a writer go out to Firaxis, spend the day, played about 6 hours, and she came away pretty impressed. So you can watch that video on our YouTube channel or on IGN.com. We've got a nice meaty preview, and yeah, that game, it's the RPG sides of it sound really intriguing, where you can kind of make friends or not so friends with different superheroes, and there's a whole separate side of it besides just the card battle stuff in combat.
And then, I'm sorry, we have something to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, in lieu of gameplay, I did really like the cinematic they showed.
Okay.
I thought it was really cool looking. I'm also very excited for that game, though. Okay. But yeah, I thought it was very cool looking. I can't wait to play it. And I guess I'll watch the gameplay on IGN.
Yeah, I guess you will.
I don't have a choice.
October is also Forspoken. That's a PS5 exclusive.
Yep.
And we left out in September 13th is Warhammer 40K Darktide.
That's that one.
For Series X. That's the one Xbox exclusive that's currently has a date for this year, for this fall. So that game looks good too.
Got one, yeah. Modern Warfare 2 is in October, of course, as well. And then we found out last week that Callisto Protocol is coming in December 2nd.
Yep.
That's kind of it, I think, for big one. Of course, there's lots of smaller
Gotham Knights,
stuff.
did you say that
It's
one?
Gotham Knights there in October. That's kind of it. So it's still looking a little bit quiet.
I think Microsoft's going to have something for us at the showcase on Sunday for 2022. I mean, and we were talking about it on our pre-show. If you watched us a few days ago, but Hellblade 2 seems like the one in my gut that feels like the most likely, but
it's time.
maybe Forza Motorsport, maybe, we'll see. They're not going to leave us hanging for this fall entirely.
No one has moved in to claim 11/11/22 yet.
God of War
After
Ragnarok.
Todd Howard moved off of it? Yeah.
After Starfield.
That's a good point.
It's just up for grabs.
It's right there.
Nobody wants to release their game on 11/11/22.
We still have potentially some sort of Nintendo press conference, hopefully this month or within sometime this summer, and maybe a more full PlayStation showcase. So there's still time. I want to mention about Call of Duty is a strange one because of watching the gameplay, and it's weird because normally you watch Call of Duty gameplay and you're like, this is the Call of Duty for this year. This is the Call of Duty for the next couple years, which is the first time that's happened in a long, long time. And so I was like really looking, and I'm like, yep, this is the game that's here for at least 2 years. So it's kind of showed a different light on that game than normally.
Were you impressed with what you saw?
Yeah, I think it's Call of Duty. You watch it and you're like, this is cool, this is pretty. The movable cover looks really, really cool. The water, it all looks really cool. It also just really looks like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Okay, well, we have the results of last episode's poll. We asked which game from Sony's State of Play last week are you most excited for? And the result was Resident Evil 4 Remake. Not too surprising there. Towards the bottom was Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales on PC. Cool. I mean, it's
Pretty close vote, though, there.
Oh, for
Final Fantasy 16?
Final Fantasy 16
That's a
coming
pretty
into,
tight race.
Yep. People are very excited for that. Coming next summer. We also have a poll for you to vote on for next week. And that poll is, what upcoming game are you most excited for? Is it Last of Us Part 1 Remake, the multiplayer component of Last of Us? We didn't even talk about that yet. Street Fighter 6. Make sure to vote at IGN.com, and we'll share the results with you next episode, which will include lots of talk about the Xbox Bethesda.
Looking forward to it.
That's going to do it for this edition of Next Gen Console Watch. Thank you to both Ryan and Mark. Always a pleasure, Mark.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone working behind the scenes here to make all this happen. It's a very exciting week here in the IGN LA studio. My name is Damon. We'll be back next week, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern with more PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news. We'll see you then.